Hey guys, Tara here, and today we're looking at the Spring Update official patch notes. This is due to come out tomorrow. So very excited about this. Let's see what the differences are between this and the preview notes. General changes. So the squad formations are being changed a little bit. So it looks like maybe we're going to get rid of the garrison bug, which is a nice change. And yeah, squad AI being removed. It got added last patch, now it's getting removed again because it's kind of making your squads feel a bit clunky when trying to move them to dodge grenades and things like that. So it's gone. On to commander abilities. M83 cluster bombs, scatter changes and drop height changes. I imagine these are just nerfing the speed at which it comes down, probably making it more similar to augmentation bombs. Commando assault. Following changes have been made to make this ability's cost better match its value and increase usability. So weapon accuracy going from 15% to 25% bonus. Speed boost no longer applies to units in combat. Cost reduced from 80 to 70, recharge from 90 to 120. So this you know, I played a little bit with this ability once they changed it last time, and didn't really seem to fit with Brits, because it's just basically none of their units are really very good at charging in and killing stuff. So speed boost no longer applying to units in combat, I feel like doesn't hurt Brits as much as say doing that to Full Mother Russia or Valiant Assault would. So they're getting more accuracy, so probably overall makes this a little bit better, I think, for Brits. Smoke rays, activation delay from 10 to 5. Smoke ray is very powerful, so I guess smoke's going to come in a bit quicker now, which is going to make it even more powerful. Makes it a bit more appealing to use. It's like 60 munitions or something like that, but you do get a lot of smoke for that, the price. Royal Engineers stand fast. To make this commander is situational. The following change has been made. Replace with sapper flamethrowers. Oh yeah, you're not going to be able to auto repair your emplacements anymore. You're going to get flamethrowers instead. It might actually make this commander like viable to use in matches. Might actually make it quite good. For marked, hold down, cast time from 15, 7.5, reload bonus removed, range bonus unchanged. Once again, this is another thing that might actually see some use now that it's changed. Maybe on the Panther, because Panther with a range bonus, and we'll get to the Panther changes later, but with the health bonus, and then the hull down having the received damage bonus on top of the newly buffed health, might make hull down Panthers quite strong. Elite Troops Doctrine. Stun grenade from 40 to 10. I think they were thinking about reducing this to 0, right? So it looks like they've gone to 10. Stop that from being just stupidly spammed. Like, just you can't dodge it. If one model gets hit by the stun, the whole squad gets stunned. You just can't dodge these, and they're like, yeah, very frustrating to play against. They don't need to do 40 damage on top of stopping your squad for firing for a couple seconds. Good change, good change. These are all pretty much what we saw in the preview so far. Population changes, tigers going up. Alright. Puma down, 250 down, Stug up. This is probably the most important one, from 8 to 10. They're nerfing its reload as well. We'll get to that eventually, but this is so important, man. If you saw much of the Ultimate Team Tournament, you notice how many Stugs people could fit into the army. They could make like 3 Stugs and then still have an army on top of that because their population is just so low. So very justified change to that. And 10 pop is the same as the T-34-76. It's still lower than most other medium tanks, so it should be fine there. 222's going down, Grenadier's going up, Pack going down. Okay, Grenadier's going up. Also our conscripts. Alright, we'll get to there. Command Panther going up, Jagdpanzer going up. That's a bit of a surprise. Didn't think the Jagdpanzer need to go up. I feel like its performance wasn't that strong at the moment. Stuka going down, that's also kind of interesting. I suppose it makes it slightly easier to use in a 1v1 having 12 population, but we did see, you know, still in some team games, we see teams going for double walking Stukas. Anyway, Puma to 7, looks from 8 to 6, that's a big reduction. But probably justified. I think overall what they want to do with these population changes is, in the late game, how valuable is this unit overall? So in the late game, the Luxus population, well, yes, not that useful compared to like a medium tank, maybe like half as useful as a medium tank because it could still fight infantry fairly reasonably, but can't fight tanks at all. So maybe, you know, it's like half as valuable as a tank, so costs half as much. As a side effect to this, there might be a little bit more manpower around in the early game, as these early game units will be taking up this population during those early stages. Version's going up to 19, probably justified. Command Panther's going up there as well. Jackson up to 16. One more now than the Jagdpanzer. It's quite a lot. It's quite expensive. Yeah, a lot of their early game light vehicles going down. Major going down though. That's pretty cool. Major did kind of take quite a lot of supply, and this kind of makes the Major more appealing to rebuild after you lose it, because it does have some nice utility. You know, being able to call in the recon planes and the off-map artillery strikes with it. It's actually quite nice. And also, if you get to Vet 3, you can run around capping very effectively as well with its passive sprint. Su-85 going to 15. My god, all the tank destroyers going up in population. This must be a response to the Ultimate Team tournament where we saw just massive amounts of tank destroyer spam. Yeah, conscripts going up to 7, same as Grenadiers. And Guards also going up to 9 now. So to try and stop the Guard spam as well. Firefly's going to 16, okay, same as the Jackson. Still make, you know, with the Stug going from 8 to 10, I mean, it's still quite cost effective in terms of supply compared to other tank destroyers in the game, since they are also going up. So it's not like that completely solves the Stug problem, but we'll have to see how it all shakes out after the patch. Tommy's going up by 1 pop, which is probably fine. So 7, same as Grenadiers, then 8 once they go to 5 man. Okay, mortars. Oh, these, I have to say before we get started, these mortar changes, basically all I wanted to see changed here was the Vermark mortar getting a rate of fire nerf. Basically that's it. Maybe you can muck around with the mortar pit a little bit, but I didn't really care about that too much. But unfortunately there are a bucket load of changes here, so let's get stuck in. Damage to garrison squads from 0.25 to 0.5. So that is going to make buildings like your squad's just going to die in buildings like super fast now. AoE near damage multiplier decreased from 1 to 0.85. I'm not sure, because it was my understanding that in the preview mod that some of these changes weren't even implemented, so I'm actually very worried about how much testing has gone on with these these changes up here. Anyway, the Vermuck Mortar is getting its barrage reload increased, auto attack reload increased, get to scatter bonus removed, get 3 range bonus replaced by increased to barrage accuracy. So this is a bucket load of nerfs for this mortar. It's getting hammered, completely hammered. I personally didn't mind Vet 3 getting the range bonus on the barrage and not the auto attack. I thought that was fine, personally. Okay, well, we're moving on to the 250 mortar half track. So it's getting similar nerfs to this, but it's getting a fuel cost decrease. And its minimum range is going to 40. So if a unit's like really close to it, it won't actually be able to fire, so you have to back it away to fire again. Let's try and stop those, like, you know, as squads advance, the mortar just gets more and more accurate and very likely to wipe your squad as you try and charge into it. I don't think anybody's going to use this now at 30 fuel. Even at 30 fuel, this was like, it was pretty strong, this, but it needs to be strong if it's going to delay your tech to medium tanks by like a minute or two, you know. So don't think we're ever going to see this. I mean, we never saw it anyway, but we're definitely never going to see it anymore. Look at LEIG. AoE radius increased. Number of incendiary shouts decreased from 5 to 4. Okay. Smoke barrage range decreased. Vet 1 range bonus now applies a 25% bonus to smoke range only. Okay, so taking it away and then they're adding it back at Vet 1. Vet 3 range bonus removed. Vet 5 scatter reduction bonus added. So I mean, you basically never see an infantry support gun get past Vet 3. So this is kind of inconsequential, but maybe we'll see a buff, well, maybe we'll see it perform a bit better now that AoE's going up. So I think the Vet 1 range bonus was only like 5, maybe 10%. It was quite a small one. LIG might be the best mortar in the game after this. It's looking like that will be the case. USCF mortar half track, similar to the Vermuck mortar, we've reduced the half track's rate of fire. So, you know, if you've seen my stream, you know I've been playing a lot with this mortar half track recently. Overall, it's very strong. And they basically just 100% nerfed it. This one doesn't even get any changes. It's very strong, but you know, still very susceptible to light vehicles. There's a 222 buff coming in, so more people will be more likely to get like a 222 or perhaps a looks, which are quite good at chasing this thing down. So it's going to make it hard to use. So I'll still give it a shot post-patch, but it might not be worth getting any more. It was already a bit of a fringe strategy, but quite cancerous in team games if you could just defend them and get like 2 or 3 of them. Just like run them around one hitting shot squads with them. Anyway, this is the 81mm mortar. This one's receiving a lot of changes, so they're increasing its range by 10, nerfing its reload speed, nerfing its setup time and its teardown time, so making it a lot more similar to other mortars, giving it more smoke barrage range, looks like. And yeah, just making it generally a lot more similar to other mortars. Looks like they're decreasing its AoE a little bit. Okay, well that's weird. See how that goes. It's kind of unusual, right? Because just getting a mortar for free right out the bat. Those Western Front armies only having 3 stages of tech instead of 4 just really upsets the pacing of units arriving on the field. And at least when this was like, I don't think this mortar really needed changing, honestly. And at least when this was like a different mortar, you kind of justify it being available at tier 0. But now that's the same as every other mortar. It kind of feels like a bit of a rip-off. The Soviets and USF having the tech to get access to them. Pack howitzer. The pack howitzer has been adjusted to be more affordable and effective at barraging defensive positions. Barrage, I guess this is shells, increased from 3 to 4. Manpower cost reduced to 340. Vet 3 range bonus removed. AoE damage from 1.25, 0.1. So reducing its AoE, buffing its barrage. So it always seems weird to me when they do this, like make the AoE near. To 0.85, so I think the pack outs are used to do 80 damage per hit, right? So now when it gets a direct hit, it's only going to be doing 15% less than that. But yeah, it's getting nerfed close and then buffed on its far AoE, or mid and far. The direct hits, I think direct hits will now no longer kill even. Before it gets the high explosive rounds. I'm not sure how much damage they do once they get those high explosive barrage rounds from the veterancy. But we'll see how it goes. Pack howitzer, it's hard to use because it can't retreat, so it needs to be quite strong. Not sure how it will go. British 3-inch mortar. Okay, so barrage cooldown increased. Manpower being decreased. Barrage. Well, weapon cooldown, okay. Barrage cooldown from 40 to 20, so you're going to be able to barrage really quickly. And shots per barrage from 4 to 3. Kind of surprised we didn't see a population cap decrease on this, but by reducing its cost, at least if you put it down and you lose it, it's not nearly as devastating. Soviet 81mm mortar. Barrage range decreased from 107 to 85. So it's getting the same other changes. Vet 3 range bonus removed, and it's getting scatter bonus. Vet 3 instead. 120mm squad size from 6 to 5. And the other changes the same. Okay, moving on to sniper changes. It's an issue where the Soviet sniper will be able to return to stealth fast, anti-garrison accuracy standardized to 100% for all snipers. It's a reasonable buff. Currently only the Brit sniper has 100% accuracy against garrisons, so every sniper having 100% accuracy against garrisons does make them stronger. And combined with these other direct fire changes against garrisons. Garrisons are going to be dangerous to be inside, and that's actually a very large change to make to COH2 quite late in the lifespan of it. Garrisons have always been like a massive feature of the meta game and map selection when it comes to tournaments. So they're going to be a lot more dangerous to be inside between those two changes. But, in some respects this is actually quite nice because garrisons do make snipers quite hard to use. And they're generally already quite hard to use on garrison heavy maps, so maybe this will make snipers slightly more viable on a few more maps. We have to wait and see. UCF student. Oh, we got a machine gun accuracy multiplier versus snipers on all these like vehicles: the Stuart Greyhound, AEC, T-70, Puma, and Panzer II. So these will all use the machine guns. Will all do more damage. Well, yeah, they will do more damage. They're more accurate, so they'll hit them more, so they'll do more damage. And the 222 had its machine gun accuracy penalty versus sniper removed. I think at the moment it has a 0.75 accuracy penalty against snipers. So now it's going to just 1, I suppose. So 222 is actually getting some buffs as well. So overall, 222 is probably going to be able to dive snipers more effectively. But looks like they didn't add the change of changing the retreating received accuracy modifier of snipers that was in the patch notes. So yeah, your light vehicles are going to have an easier time countering snipers, but catching them out of position with your squads and killing them on retreat is not going to be buffed like was proposed in the preview. In the the preview notes. So we're going on to the Panther, the Mark Panther going up by 10, which makes it, I suppose it's the same fuel cost as the OKW one, I think. I'm not sure. Fire accuracy increased by a decent chunk. We saw in the one game that I cast from it, the Panthers did seem to be more accurate on those long range shots. Health increased from 800 to 960, so it's 1 more shot to kill from most tanks. Front armor reduced to 260. I think previously it was 320. I think so. So a decent armor, like pretty big armor reduction there. Fit 2 health bonus being replaced by armor bonus. Don't let this fool you. This armor bonus used to be here. Just adding it back in. You're like, oh, we took away this feature. Oh, we're adding it back. It's a new feature. I see what you're doing there. Get a Panther reload being decreased, so it's going to fire faster. So that's nice. And the rear armor reduced from 110 to 90. So that's going to make the Panther, you know, a bit more vulnerable to rear armor shots from things like the Stuart or T-70. Those kind of light vehicles. Yeah, I didn't really think the Panther needed changing. Kind of like the way it was before, but see how these get on. Yeah, I think with the changes to other things like the Jackson, which we'll get to, the population on the other tank destroyers, I think that would make Panther a lot more appealing. Maybe we could look at changing them after those other changes go through. Because at the moment, I feel like the Panther with its reduced armor is just going to take damage, and then it's going to be sitting around acquiring repairs, not being up to much. 222 is receiving a cost adjustment to make it more viable early mid-game and easier to replace in the later stages should it be destroyed. Manpower cost reduced from 250 to 200. Machine gun fire accuracy increased from 0.27 to 0.32. This is a big change, because I think in the patch notes they were floating a massive armor increase, like basically almost doubling its armor or something like that, which I wasn't a fan of. I personally wanted to have more anti-infantry, just keep the armor as it was currently. And this is good because at the moment, when you're trying to kite and shoot at long range with the 222, it just hits nothing, does no damage. Units laugh in its face. So this is a good change because, you know, when you're trying to avoid the snare with your 222 and it's driving around trying to stay at like longer range, it just does no damage. So I'm quite excited to try this change out. Maybe we'll see, you know, instead of some green spam, maybe we'll get to see some tier 2 action finally. Which I hope so. Coaxial machine gun now obeys commands. Wow, that's nice. Oh, the 20mm autocannon no longer creates light cover. So, you know, it's like when it's shooting and it hits the ground, it'll make like a light cover crater. No longer. So that might actually make it do more damage, right? Because, you know, if it's not making craters, then the squad is not going to get the light cover. And then the machine guns that freshly got buffed are going to do more damage against the units in standard cover instead of being in light cover. So interesting changes to 222. I definitely want to test those out. I think it's going to be like, this isn't a monster buff, but this I think is a reasonable buff and might make it desirable again. But I don't think it's going to be turn the game into like a 222 spam again, because it still costs 30 fuel. It's still quite a lot of fuel. So going for more than one is a little bit risky. Panzer Shrek upgrade munitions cost reduced from 120 to 100. Making the Shreks a little bit more appealing. Nobody ever gets them, so fine. I don't really care. The Brombear is having its AoE reduced to stop it from wiping out full health units on the first shot, but still able to deal significant damage on misses. So the near AoE is getting heavily reduced. So is the mid. So the near and mid is going down massively. So that means the radius on the inside, like the part which will be doing full damage, is getting greatly reduced. But then on the very edge, 6. So it's like the kill radius on the inside is going to be small, but then the AoE radius of the thing is going to be huge. 6. That is huge. So basically, even if you miss, you're still going to hit. AoE damage changed from 1, 0.3, 0.05 to 1, 0.35, 0.2. So, if my understanding is correct, like this is huge. This is a huge AoE, and then on top of that, it's also going to be doing 20%. That's like 40 damage, right? So it's about 40 damage. Is that right? Maybe it's like 36 damage. Either way, even if you're like on the very far edge, it's basically like 2 shots and your squad's dead. So yeah, you won't get one shot wiped by this as much, but you can only stay there for like 1 shot, basically 2 shots and you're dead. Command Panzer IV. We're reducing the bonuses of the Command Panzer IV's aura to decrease its potency around units such as the Stug and Panther that are either incredibly cost effective with the increased durability or have a high durability to begin with. So the damage reduction is going from 20 to 10%. This was like a pretty big problem during the Ultimate Team Tournament. We saw Stugs with the Command Panzer IV aura were just so cost effective and impossible to kill. So the Stug has 560 health, so with 20% bonus it moved them up to 5 shots to kill like every other medium tank. But with the 10% bonus, I'm pretty sure there'll be 4 shots to kill with this bonus. And similar thing with the Panther, now that's going up in health to the 960, the 20% bonus, I think it added another shot to kill as well. So they're removing that as well. So that's I think that's the main goal here, to stop those 2 tanks from just getting that extra shot to kill bonus from the Command Panzer IV Aura. But on the flip side of that, makes it worse at countering rocket artillery for infantry. So it's a little bit unfortunate, because rocket artillery is quite cancerous in those Steam games, you know. But yeah, I think, yeah, from what we saw in the Ultimate Team Tournament, it was required. Strug G is having its reload changed, increased by a second. We saw the Strug in the Ultimate Team Tournament just running amok, just ruining games. Yeah, not ruining games, but you know what I'm saying. They were just, like, you saw at least like 3 or 4 of them in basically every game, just dominating everything. So yeah, very justified change. We have to wait and see. And you know, this kind of rate of fire changes, you know, it just seem to be more relevant in team games than in 1v1. Anyway, Tiger Ace cost increase from 800 manpower to 800 manpower and 150 fuel. Ugh. So it's still going to have the resource penalty, but you have to pay 150 fuel for it as well? Yuck. I thought the Tiger Ace was in like a reasonable position at the moment, honestly. And with the nerfs to stun grenades, probably would have been fine. Just leave it as it was. But people just really don't like that. They just really don't like the Tiger Ace. But I thought it was fine. OKW changes. Starting resources. Starting fuel reduced from 10 to 5. And then they should have really put these changes next to each other. Fuel cost reduced from 50 to 45. So this is making your tech to mechanize the same speed, but slowing down the tech to Battle Group HQ, which will slow down your Flak half track. And they're also decreasing the build time of the looks by 15 seconds, which I think is back to maybe where it was before, or it might still be maybe like 10 or 15 seconds more than it was before, like way before. So we'll have to see if people go for the looks again. Looks like they didn't include the medkit changes, which is a little bit of a surprise. So yeah, we'll have to see if people do go for the looks or not, because the Flak half track's also getting nerfed, suppression being halved, and smoke cost increase by 10 munitions. So this is a pretty big nerf for Flak half track. It's going to be coming 5 fuel later, suppression being halved, and its smoke cost increase. Smoke cost increase I'm 100% on board with. This seems like a little bit too much of a suppression reduction though, honestly. Maybe if it was like 0.2, but yeah. Other than that, I'm 100% on board with this change. And coming 5 fuel later is probably fine, but I think this suppression reduction is a little bit too much, because sometimes, you know, it's just like a little bit inconsistent how it targets stuff, and reduced suppression on top of that inconsistency could be quite frustrating, I imagine. Ooh, Soviet changes. Sniper. This is going to become a one-man / woman squad similar to the Wehrmacht and British snipers, to allow more counter sniper play from Wehrmacht players. Squad's going to 1. Camouflage Probably the same. I don't know these exactly, but I imagine most of these are going to be very similar to the Aussie sniper in terms of just stats. So here, health going from 64 where it was before, so it could be one shot by mortars previously, now to 82, so that can't happen. Whereas all other infantry in the game is 80. Population increased from 8 to 9. I don't think that's necessary. Because, yeah, they didn't change Valiant Assault. So you can't make snipers against OKW because they just Valiant Assault and just charge at you. I'm very upset that they didn't change Valiant Assault and for Mother Russia. So yeah, anyway, changed a whole bunch of stuff, and I don't think anybody's going to use them, but I could be wrong. One nice change though, reload frequency increased from 4 to 9, so you don't have to constantly reload, which was actually a pretty big pain in the ass when using those snipers. Conscript PPSH. PPSH upgrade costs increased from 40 to 60. So I'm actually kind of upset about this change as well. I felt like PPSH needed to just go down and damage a little bit, you know. Instead, they're going to increase its munitions cost. It's still going to end up running over basically every squad in the late game. It's just, it won't be so much of a power spike as you hit, was it 2 or 3 CPs when these unlock? Because you won't be able to unlock PPSHs on all your squads. Honestly, I think if they want to not nerf the PPSH, they should maybe even increase this to 70. Because I feel like its strength is probably similar to like the Obersoldaten LMG, or I mean certainly stronger than the M1919 for US forces, which costs 70. So yeah, I'm not happy about that change. SU-76 is having its reload speed nerfed by 1 second. Basically on both sides, so similar to the Stug. I think its reload pretty largely nerfed, and then the barrage is also being changed to match the barrage of the ZIS. Yeah, so yeah, it's going to match the ZIS. The main features being damage going from 120 to 80, but a larger AoE. But yeah, you have to pay for it now, 35 munitions. So 35 munitions on top of the reload speed nerfs. We'll have to see how viable the SU-76 is after this. Certainly, I think this is a good idea, adding munitions cost to the barrage, but stacking it on top of a reload speed nerf as well, it's going to make life a bit harder for the Soviets. PTRS, we are lowering the PTRS deflection damage to reduce their impact against heavily armored vehicles when attacking from the front. Deflection damage reduced from 20 to 10. Oh, got a sneeze coming on. So yeah, it's going to be the same as every other handheld anti-tank weapon. When they fail to penetrate, they only do 25% of their regular damage instead of what would have been 50% previously. So yeah, they're going to be worse against heavy tanks and medium tanks, but still just as strong against light tanks. But yeah, most noticeable this will be against heavy tanks. IL-2 Loiter. IL-2 is having its damage reduced to lessen its ability to wipe infantry squads at full health, so damage from 5 to 3, big nerf to this. Its damage probably should never have been 5, probably should have been 4 to start off with, so we'll have to see if this is too strong or not. I mean, it'll still do a lot of damage to squads, pin them. You'll still probably have to retreat the hell out of the zone. It's just the squads will be less likely to die to it. So still have like the area denial effects, but yeah, your squads are less likely to get wiped by it alone. Bren, Mark II light machine gun. Sappers now use Tommy Bren gun on pickup. Okay. Cost from 60 to 45, accuracy, far accuracy and mid accuracy being reduced, so they'll be doing less damage far and mid. Mid range from 28 to 25, so that's, yeah, another nerf. So Bren's getting their cost reduced and their efficacy reduced. There were a lot of changes floated around Tommy's, you know, increasing the fuel costs of the 5-man upgrade and all sorts of stuff. Looks like they're just going to nerf the Brens at the moment, and this should make life a bit happier for OKW specifically, because the Vet 3 double Bren 5-man Tommies are very hard to deal with. Basically any infantry squad on the field, except for maybe like highly vetted obers, would lose. But then highly vetted obers are more expensive to reinforce. So yeah, I'll be interested to see how this changes things, but I'm kind of glad. I hated facing those Vet 3 double Bren Tommies, you know. I think most people did. Sappers. Sapper heavy. Sapper, okay, upgrade munitions cost from 70 to 60. I mean, nobody really makes these, but it's nice that they're make a small tweak to that. It could be alright. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe, you know, you get the Sapper and then maybe get some of these newly reduced cost Brens on them. They might actually be decent. Might give that a test. Because HMG cost reduced from 260, I think that's from 280, so pretty minor change there. Build time increased by 4 seconds. So I suppose it's like maybe 4 seconds of manpower. So they're trying to counter that out there. Vet 2 now provides a 20% bonus to suppression, because its suppression is pretty shit. So now if you do get a Vickers and you vet it up, suppression will be more on par with most other machine guns. And Vet 1 garrison sight and range bonus from 25% to 15%. Probably could have made this 10% now that they're buffing its suppression, but that's alright. I think overall pretty good changes to the Vickers. I think those are good changes. Boys, anti-tank infantry sections can no longer upgrade medkits / pyro supplies and AT grenade from 20 to 15. Yeah, so the AT grenade range was too far, but this is a pretty big nerf, no longer being able to upgrade medkits or pyro supplies. I think there was also previously in the notes they were floating the idea of not being able to upgrade these to 5 men. It looks like that was discarded. So there's still a pretty big nerf, and yeah, it'll just make it generally harder for those squads to heal themselves. Don't think it'll force anyone to build a forward assembly with the medics though, unless they really want to spam these, but I don't think that will happen. It could happen. Maybe we'll see somebody come along with like a double machine gun universal carrier strategy early on, and then transition into just spamming these with a mid base, you know, with a medic forward assembly in their base. But I don't think so. Universal carrier is having its armor adjusted. These changes should allow small arms to penetrate the vehicle more frequently, increasing counterplay. So its health is going up, but the Vickers and Wasp upgrade no longer increase its health. Front armor being decreased by quite a chunk. Rear armor also being decreased by a reasonable amount. But still going to have quite a lot more armor than the Kubel, right? Which I think is at 5. So still, yeah, not going to be penetrated as much as the Kubel, but will mean that if you do blob up your infantry and just like shoot at the UC, will actually lose its health. You have to remember this is also kind of like somewhat mitigated by this health gain, but it means that when you do end up having to repair this, it will take longer. You have to spend longer on the repairs, so it'll be out of combat for longer once it takes damage, which is the overall goal here, I think. Wasp upgrade cost increase. I don't think it really needed a cost increase, and range decrease. Maybe that's okay, but pretty inconsequential changes there for the Wasp, I think. But the Wasp is overall going to be worse, right? Because it is no longer getting the health bonus and it suffers from the reduced armor. So it's pretty much a triple whammy on the Wasp, which I don't think was necessary. I think it was in like a pretty reasonable spot. But there you go. M3 resupply half track. Weapon drop ability now require weapon racks to be unlocked. So nobody's ever going to make this half track anymore. Okay, that's good to know. Cromwell is having its cost reduced to better reflect its performance fuel cost from 120 to 110. So yeah, this is fair enough. Cromwell is basically worse than the Panzer IV in every area. Panzer IV just got its costs reduced to this amount, so it makes sense that Cromwell was going to get its fuel cost reduced as well. So, you know, that's the same price now as the USF Sherman, so I think that's probably fine. Sherman having access to the high explosive rounds, Cromwell having access to the tank commander and a bit more penetration. AEC tread shot ability, and they both have smoke, you know, Sherman smoke and Cromwell main gun smoke, so I think it makes sense. Tread shot ability. Tread shot is once again an aimed ability. Oh, this is perhaps bad news for my criticals video. Reading aim time increased from 1.5 to 2. Fire accuracy increased from 0.3 to 0.35. Okay, so they're changing stuff about this. I'm not sure. We're going to have to test that out. Centaur. Scatter is being increased to reduce the Centaur's offensive capabilities and ability to wipe units even on retreat. Scatter is being increased. And the ability, the Vet 1 ability, is getting a minimum range set on it. So it won't just go over a squad and insta kill it. It's having its cost reduced as well now that it's being nerfed. So Centaur, I don't know, it's a little bit weird, right, with the Centaur, because they increased its speed, but now that it's fast enough they can actually chase squads down. It's too lethal, so they have to decrease its scatter. I mean, they could have probably just left its speed where it was, but this is a good change to the Vet 1 ability, because that is quite frustrating. But then again, maybe having some speed is alright, because at least then it has a chance of getting away from a medium tank that's trying to attack it, you know. So maybe it's better off this way. 6-pounder is having its bonus against heavy vehicles removed. It will still be capable of reliably striking light vehicles, but will no longer have a guaranteed chance to hit tanks. 50% accuracy bonus now only applies to light vehicles. So yeah, part of the reason why, yeah, the 6-pounder has a bonus against vehicles because the Brits don't have snares, so it needs to be accurate. Now they're removing that accuracy bonus, but Brits still don't have snares. This doesn't really make sense to me until British actually get a snare. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. Feels like overall Brits are going to be quite a lot worse like probably just about unplayable and 1v1's worse, but maybe there'll be some strategy, new strategy that I don't know of, maybe involving rushing the Cromwell, maybe with some heavy sappers or something, I'm not sure. But they didn't buff sappers at all, because wasn't it last patch they changed the received accuracy of them at vet 0, like nerfed it by about 10%, and ever since then sappers have felt a little bit underwhelming. So yeah, even sapper heavy builds I think are not going to be very good for Brits. Generally I don't think Brits are going to be very good this patch. USF changes, 50 cal heavy machine gun, so it's getting sprint removed. I mean, they removed it from the maximum. I'm surprised it lasted so long in the 50 cal. Suppression at vet 0 is being reduced, and then they're adding that back at vet 1. It's probably overall fine. 50 cal is very strong at the moment, so these are overall reasonable changes for it. E47 rocket strafe, damage from 80 to 65, pretty self-explanatory. Did seem a little bit too strong, but it's nice that now that they fixed the targeting, it can actually hit stuff. So I think decreasing its damage over making it miss heaps is the preferable solution here. M8 Greyhound is having its damage lowered to make it less effective against vehicles. Its performance against infantry will remain unaffected. So your damage from 60 to 40, but then they're changing this AoE. Used to be only be doing 40 damage against infantry anyway, so they're just switching these around. Greyhound is very powerful against infantry, so they want it to be less powerful against vehicles, so we'll have to see how this gets on. Certainly will make it less viable against the looks, which I think is what they're trying to target here. But I think it will still be a pretty close fight against the looks, but I think maybe the looks will win now. We'll have to wait and see. Jackson, we are removing the M36's extra sight bonuses. Jackson will still be an effective tank destroyer due to its high mobility, penetration, range and damage. Sight reduced from 40 to 35, vet 2 sight bonus removed. So they only added these sight bonuses in quite recently, like just before they made the other changes to its health and damage. So overall, I think these are good changes. You know, sometimes I've noticed in my own games, I actually beat somebody and they complained about the Jackson, and I was like, oh, the Jackson's not that bad, is it? But then I rewatched the game and I was like, actually, if I didn't have the sight on my Jackson, I probably would have chased in on it, on their tank, and got the kill here. So I think this will actually make a bit of an impact on the Jackson going in for the killing blows. So I think it's a pretty good change, and that's it. There are also some map changes. They're removing Samoski Summer from the 1v1 rotation, so that'll free up one more veto for everyone. Yeah, happy days. And a few other minor map changes, but yeah, overall a lot of changes. I really wish they didn't make those Mortar changes. The Brits seem like they're going to be pretty shit. And yeah, I'm not sure about those Soviet sniper changes either. But other than that, I mean, there's not too much to complain about for me here. But I suppose that is, like, the Mortar changes are pretty big. So are the Soviet sniper changes. So yeah, still not completely happy about this patch, but we'll have to see how it plays out tomorrow. Thanks for watching, guys, and catch you all next time.